The Cristiano Giuntoli era is over. We turn a page and we open immediately a new chapter, the one of Damien Comolli, Juventus, day one in La Continassa. What is on his agenda? What are his priorities? And then Bomba, because we know it. Calcio Mercato is open. A Bomba, a big interest from Juventus for a Brazilian player. From Manchester, we are speaking about Antony. Ciao Juventini of the world, my name is Giuseppe, welcome back on the channel, I hope you're all doing well. A lot of different Juve news, but not only. If you didn't yet and you want to show support to the channel, it's the moment to do it. With a maximum of like, don't forget to subscribe to the channel and also interact. Let me know your opinion about the different players that we'll speak about in today's video. Before speaking about Juve, I want to go towards my battle, you know it, and my battle with the narrative of Italian media, because since yesterday it is official, Simone Inzaghi is leaving Inter. He couldn't anymore, no energies anymore. I think it's a smart choice from him, because after the season 24-25, nothing would have been forgiven to the Italian coach. Here we go. He goes to Al Hilal, but that's not what I wanted to tell you. The narrative of Italian media totally changed regarding Simone Inzaghi, regarding Inter, because from being the best coach of the universe, well, he became the only one, the only person to blame for the season of Inter. From pride of Italian calcio, solidity, intelligent way of playing, to a boring, repetitive football. From testa alta, after that loss against City, because they played extremely well, they played better than City. If it was not for Lukaku, the one to blame back then, well, now it is, yeah, but anyway, they lost that game, so, He received more from Inter, they're telling us, than he gave to Inter. Well, this morning, Italian media, they totally decide to change their mind. The biggest humiliation is actually because of Inzaghi, who is thinking only about money. That's what they are telling us. He destabilized the locker room, the team, the group, trying actually already, because he knew that he would have gone to Al Hilal, to take some players with him. Barella, Bastoni. These two, they said no. You know who say yes? Acerbi was open to go with the coach to Al Hilal. It's strange, 2 days after Acerbi said no to La Nazionale Italiana, he went from a hero that has beaten a lot of demons, and you know it, that we are extremely happy for that. Well, from a hero, he became actually a treater. Hey, you are seeing it in the pages of Gazzetta dello Sport. You see the trophy cabinet, that museum with actually only 3 Supercoppa won, only 2 Coppa Italia won, only 1 Scudetto won, and actually he threw away 2 out of 4 Scudetti, 1 because of the superiority of Napoli. Not good, Inzaghi, not good, Inzaghi. Look, you lost 4 times the Champions League. You lost 3 times the Scudetto. You lost 2 times the Coppa Italia, 1 time the Supercoppa. Not good, Simone Inzaghi. L'Inter di Inzaghi, a big humiliation, a lot of regrets. To save maybe only the final play against City, but yeah, even that one, they lost it. They lost it anyway. He chose for the money, the opinion of Sacchi. He chose the money, and not always is good to go for the money only. He gave everything. That's what he said, the words of Simone Inzaghi. I gave everything, but my story was over. And then they want to repeat, and don't forget about that. He will be remembered for that second star, which is a pride of Inter. We know it, because that second star refers a lot to Calciopoli. Guys, the narrative, but nowhere you can find actually the big scandal of yesterday that has been reported first in Rai 3 by a report, by an investigation documentary, and then reported by France, Foot Mercato, by all the papers in France, by Transfer Talk, by so many different accounts. The world is speaking about it, except of course, the big Italian media. They want to avoid it. They don't speak about it. And honestly, I was a bit shocked that CBS is not even mentioning it. The journalists that are always speaking about Calcio, they know everything. They speak about the plusvalenza, kid about Juve. Well, this time they didn't even refer. Breaking: Inter Milan are part of the biggest financial scandal in Italian football since Calciopoli Comolli is the big title. The world is speaking about it, except, of course, of Gazzetta dello Sport, because on the first page you see Inzaghi gone, you see possibly Fabregas joining Inter. Strange narrative. And Modric, by the way, became young. It's not old anymore, because in Milan, Maldini, Ibrahimovic, Costa Curta, they were able to play well at 40, so it's not old anymore, Modric. With all the respect, guys, the narrative, how they want to sell a story is really bizarre. Bizarre. You want my opinion about Fabregas before we go towards Juve? I can give you my opinion. I think that it will be extremely tough for him if he goes to Inter this year in season 25-26, because it's a team that is totally made for Inzaghi, was made by Conte. I think that the ideal coach to give continuity to a strong Inter, let's not believe what Gazzetta is telling us. Well, I believe that Allegri could have been a really good coach to give that continuity. The ideas of football of Fabregas are totally different. Then he is a good coach. I think he will have difficulty because on the market, it's not that Inter can do whatever they want. So they cannot change the team to actually give it to the coach that they will choose. But I think that in the long term, it will be a really good coach for Inter. If they are able to stick with him, he will do well. So hopefully it will be that bad in 25-26 that they cannot continue with him. Anyway, clap, we go towards our news. The most important was, of course, the one of Comolli, day one. What is on his agenda? First of all, arriving in Torino. From what I know, he didn't arrive yet physically yesterday evening, so he will arrive this morning in Torino, in Casele. Before starting in his agenda, of course, is meeting Igor Tudor. That's the big priority, to speak with him, to start to know him, to speak with him face to face, maybe in French. I don't know if Tudor, after 1 year at Marseille, is able to understand a bit of French, but speaking, discovering, understanding, and also making some decisions on the coach. You stay, you don't stay. You stay with us until the Club World Cup or not. Big decision is there for Tudor to reassure him, giving him a bit of credibility, because at the moment I feel it in the Juve world. There are a lot of Juventini that said, if we continue with Tudor, why not? But that legitimacy has been gone because of the last few days. So the big mission of Comolli will be, whatever choice he makes, to give credibility again to the Croatian coach. Super important. Credibility and also a lot of respect. And then taking a choice about the striker. Jonathan David is still there, free, with 3 clubs that are on him, even if Napoli, they are backing up a bit, but Inter is also still monitoring the situation, so pay attention. If you want Jonathan David, it's now or never. Don't think that Jonathan David will be free forever, because when there will be a team with a valid project that will go on the player, he will leave. I can tell he will leave. He will join them because he's totally free at the moment. So it is the moment now to be serious, to think about it, to say we want him or we don't want him. And also about Colomani taking the full, calling today already to Paris Saint-Germain and asking, we want him for the Club World Cup, and probably also what are the options for him to stay also at Juve in 25-26. The strikers, it's a huge, big topic at Juventus. Between Tudor, of course, he will spend his day with Giorgio Chiellini. That will be the one that will report to him. That will be his right hand. So a big planning. Today it will not be the day where we will see a Comolli spending time in walking around in La Continassa, discovering the infrastructure, going to the J Hotel to take a nap, to have a beautiful lunch at mid. No, that will not be the day of Comolli. Comolli will work and probably will not even sleep. You will see that he will not go back home. He will continue to work, and it's important because we have choices to make. I told you, accelerating or not for Jonathan David, and then already starting to think about, can we maybe reinforce that team not only with loans that are coming back, but also maybe with having new faces, new players already for the Club World Cup. Jonathan David is feasible. There is another name that Juventus is already thinking about. It comes already from long. It's not new because Cristiano Giuntoli was already informing about him, but apparently it's a dossier, it's a file that Juventus wants to continue to monitor also with Comolli. According to the papers, it's the name of Antony. Antony from Manchester United. He flopped totally at Manchester United after doing extremely well at Ajax. It's a player that did extremely well at Betis Sevilla, where he lived again. A really renewed, again, a new bird for the Brazilian player that showed a lot and arrived in the final to play that Conference League. Unfortunately for him, he lost it 4-1 against Chelsea. Is it the player that I like? I was, of course, impressed by the tricks and skills that we saw on YouTube. I believe that Carlo99 made a video back then about him that was extremely beautiful. I said, pay attention. Too much skills, too much smoke without fire. But what he was able to show at Betis was beautiful. Is that a player that you would love to have at Juve? Pay attention before answering. Pay attention to the McTominay biggest flop of Premier League and look at what he was able to do with Napoli. So think about it twice before answering. And then there is another name that will not be permanently signed by Chelsea. He won the Conference League against Antony. He will also go back to Manchester United. It is Sancho, a name that we spoke about so much here on the channel with some haters, with some believers. Sancho could be a really beautiful opportunity for Juve if they want to go back on that track. So two players where at the moment that today there is not yet a price, there is not yet a formula. So it will be Juventus that will, if they want one of these two, discuss with Manchester United to see what is available or not in the market. Of course, if one of these two are arriving, it will be probably a decision that has already been taken about Conceição not staying at Juve. Atletico Madrid is the only team at the moment, a serious team, that really expressed desire to go and speak with Dusan Vlahovic. He's one of the players that are really interested in. It's not the first time. It comes from really long, already before him joining Juve. Well, that could be a player that could go to the Colchoneros, because Juventus, with the old management, but also with Tudor when he came back, and with the new management, is not in the plans of Juve. The situation, Dusan Vlahovic didn't change at Juve. You don't take part of season 25-26, at least not in our mind. I'm really curious as well, if you're able to sign a striker or to find a solution for Colomani +1, I will tell you. I'm really curious to know if Dusan Vlahovic will travel with the team to USA. Question mark. But what is the block? The block is that potentially Atletico Madrid is interested in Cristiano Giuntoli as sporting director. I can tell you, if that's the case, if he goes to Atletico Madrid, I don't see Dusan Vlahovic joining them because the relationship between both of them are not good. Who is on the market on top of Dusan Vlahovic? Well, there are the discussion of Cambiaso. Cambiaso with the big interest of Milan. We already spoke about it yesterday, so I don't want to be repetitive. I hope we don't do that stupidity. That would be extremely stupid. I'm not saying keep Cambiaso at all cost, because we cannot refuse all cost, but not to Milan. If you want to sell him to abroad, to another country, to another club, but not to Milan, because Milan is really starting to do an intelligent mercato. Napoli is pushing for Federico Gatti. I would not give Federico Gatti neither to Napoli. Juventus interest in Leoni. That's what Gianluca Di Marzio is telling us. And then, of course, we need to think about the situation. Douglas Luiz. Douglas Luiz on the road after going to Brazil, Saudade, families and friends. He came back. Will it be a new season for him? Will it be a season 25-26 in black, white and pink? Question mark. Big question mark. I don't think that it would be healthy to keep and Thuram and Locatelli and Koopmeiners and Douglas Luiz and McKennie. Some changes need to happen, because otherwise you go with two flops of last season, Koopmeiners and Douglas Luiz. One flop I want to give another try. Then you can decide if you want Cope, if you want Douglas Luiz. Douglas Luiz that has some offers from Newcastle, from Nottingham, from Aston Villa. So let's see what Juventus will decide about Douglas Luiz. At the moment, there are not really decision being taken, so we'll have to wait a few days more. One that apparently a decision has been taken, and from Chelsea and from Juve, is Renato Veiga, that will be called back to go back to London and not participating to the Club World Cup with Juve. A decision taken by Juve, especially after taking back Rugani from loan, because they want to keep that money. Money that they prefer to go for another name if available on the market for a center back. Let's see. Why am I telling you that? Because Marseille is knocking at the door for Chelsea. So it's a player that is not even 100% sure to stay at Chelsea, but Juventus looks like it's Juventus that decided. Renato Veiga, good, beautiful prospect, beautiful skills, but not 100% the one that we want to spend a lot of money on. Tell me if you are right, if we are right or not to decide that. One that will be at Juve, and that's a good news, and we finish with a beautiful note, is the one of Yildiz. The Juve of Yildiz. You know that I hate center of the project, is something that I hate. The Juve of Yildiz is not a beautiful title, but I want Yildiz to be there, and that's what Juventus want as well. Not only believing in him, continuing the number 10 on the shoulders, but also giving him a contract extension, not only in years, but also in money, to push away all the possible offers, because there will be interest in the Turkish player, and that's a good news. I would put that in the agenda of Comolli already today as well. After the things that he needs to do, he needs to find a moment to call in Turkey because he's there with the national team. Yildiz saying, guys, don't worry. Don't even think about it. I take care of that. You are at Juve, and you will be an important one for season 25-26 and the future. Juventini, if you enjoyed that video, put a maximum of like. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel. Guys, I thought it would be an extremely long video. It's a normal, average video, but how many news did we speak about? So show me respect, love, maximum of likes. Don't forget to subscribe. Grazie, forza. Juve.